Hey there guys, Artistic Nick here. Thanks for the click. In today's drawing tutorial, I'm going to be going through the techniques that I use to create realistic art using graphite pencils only. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into today's video. I'm super happy to be bringing this one to you. This is a drawing that I've recently been doing. It's a commission piece that I've been doing, and I thought that I'd just go through the techniques that I've been using. I've had a lot of requests and comments recently over on social media asking how I draw realistic portraits and realistic drawings. So I thought I'd go through some of the techniques, some of my top tips. So make sure you stay all the way to the end. This is one of my favourite pieces that I've done for a long time, and I really do feel like I captured a photorealistic sense to this. I've recently had a lot of people asking me if I could do some of the drawing tutorials in real time, so I thought I'd start this video off without going straight into the time lapse, just so that you can get a sense of how slow the process is. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with a very light pencil and I'm going into the darkest areas. So in this case I'm using a 2H pencil and I'm just laying down some of the darkest areas. In this sense, or in this case, it's actually the nose to the left hand side. And I'm using what I call a tapered stroke, where I'm actually just pulling the pencil towards me and I'm gradually building the values up. Now, I understand that watching the time lapse of these types of things don't really give you a sense of how long these things take. And my first tip for you would be, if you're trying to create realism in your art, make sure that you take your time and you build the values up very quickly. I know that there's a lot of artists out there that go straight in with a very dark pencil, so maybe a 2B or a 4B pencil, and they use things like blending stumps. That's absolutely fantastic, and if that's how they like to draw, then that's great. I've got nothing against that. But for creating something that looks very realistic, both up close and from a distance, I like to use this method where I don't use blending stumps, I don't use any paper, tissue paper, or even a finger, anything like that, which I've seen some people using to blend out. What I do is I build the values up very gradually. So I've sped this up now, I've gone into the time lapse, and you can see the method that I'm using. I'm filling in the darkest areas, I'm going through my 2H pencil into an HB pencil, and then in some of the lightest areas I actually do start to get the 4H pencil out. As I build the values up, I keep making sure that I'm refining the darkest areas. And what this does, as you're drawing your picture, it gives you a sense of realism straight away. So rather than just building one area up to completion and then going into the next area, I like to get a whole look at the picture. I tend to leave the hair till the end. It's just a habit that I've got into over the last couple of years since I've really been drawing realism. You can start with the hair if you like, but one of the reasons I like to go with the hair towards the end is because I do use a brush and I use a 2B pencil to start with, and I just find that the graphite would move around too much for me. So I'm pretty sure that you can see here that the actual face that I'm drawing is a representation of Jesus. It was a request that I had from somebody over in Ireland, and they wanted me to draw a realistic looking Jesus with a picture of their mother holding their late sister. I had two very, very old reference images to work with, so I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. I'd love you guys to let me know in the comments down below what you think of the final drawing. I really hope it's received well. Like I say, I'm super proud of this, but it's such a long process going through the different grades of pencil from your 2H all the way up. In some cases I go up to a 4B pencil and maybe a 6B in some of the darkest areas. My second tip for creating realism, and you'll start to see this as the drawing develops, is you must have contrast. This is a contrast between your darkest areas and your lightest areas. So you'll notice that I'm using what we call a kneaded eraser to pull out some of the value. So around the nose, you'll always find a lighter spot. So the tip of the nose, cheekbones will also be very light. So I'm making sure that I'm going over the darkest areas and refining those with the HB pencil, layering the HB pencil, layering the 2H pencil, and also then going in with the 2B pencil. But at the same time, I'm still always taking out the lighter areas. This drawing took me about 20 hours in total, and I think if you went back to the start of the video and had a look at how long it takes to start building those values up, you can appreciate the length of time this takes. Now, I know some people out there haven't got time on their hands, like a 20-hour amount of time to draw something like this, but like I say, this is the method that I use, and it's something that I've refined over the last couple of years. I really do like the finished look. Like I say, it gives you a sense of realism whether you're up close looking at the picture or you're standing further away from it. It also looks fantastic on film and with pictures as well. So it's a method that I do like to use if I'm going for realism. Obviously some of the cartoon work, and if I'm going for a slightly different look, I might sometimes use a blending stump or something to blend with. But like I say, for realistic faces, realistic hair, this is the best method that I've come across so far. So making sure we're understanding that the first thing to try and develop realism is we must have some fantastic contrast in there. The second thing that really helps with creating realism is making sure that you have smooth transitions from your darkest areas to your lightest areas. And you'll see around the cheekbones that I've got a very, very soft gradation going from a 2B pencil all the way down into a 4H in the cheekbones. You don't want harsh lines between the different grades of pencil, so you don't want to have a line between your 2B to your HB, and you certainly don't want to have lots of pencil strokes. So like I say, this does take a long time to master, and I wouldn't say that I'm an expert at it yet. I think I've still got a long way to go, but I am really happy with how some of my final works turn out. A lot of my customers have been really happy with it. So make sure that you take your time, you're creating contrast. When we're drawing the hair, I'm using a 2B pencil, and I'm making sure that I'm making the pencil strokes in the direction that the hair is falling or lying. This just again gives you a sense of realism, and you probably don't need as smooth a look to it as you would do with skin on the face or around the head. I then make sure that I'm taking out highlights using a Tombow Mono Zero eraser. This gives those realistic highlights to it, and it makes the hair look like it's got a natural shine. As always guys, I hope you're enjoying this channel. Thank you so much for the support. If you have any requests, don't forget to leave me them down below in the comments. You can also get hold of me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. The links to all of my descriptions are down below. It would be really great to connect with you on there. And thank you again so much for your support. Thanks for all the likes, comments and shares. It really does make a huge difference to small channels like mine where we're trying to get our art out there. I'm open to suggestions. Let me see how you want the channel to go. That's my final piece. Thanks so much for watching guys. See you next time. Hit subscribe, smack the notifications button, follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.